Welcome to the Peace and Possibilities podcast. This is Julie Bruns, and you are about to be inspired. I am so excited to share my conversations with amazing people from all walks of life who figured out how to be happy, peaceful, and content doing work they love and making the world a better place so that you can see what's possible for your life. I can't wait to hear what you think. Send me an email and let me know one thing you're taking away from this episode. And never forget, anything really is possible. Welcome, everyone, to this episode of the Peace and Possibilities podcast. My guest today is Vikrant Shaurya. And welcome, Vikrant. How are you?
Hey, Julie, thank you so much for having me. I'm really good. Really looking forward for our conversation today.
Me too. So, Vic and I met through someone on his team reaching out to me about coming on my podcast, which I'm always excited about when someone learns about my podcast from some, other way. And he wanted to come on and talk about what he does because he loves what he does. So I'm excited to learn a little bit more about him today too. His website is bestsellingbook.com. And I just want to jump right into the questions. I'm happy you're here, and let's get started.
Sure.
Okay, so first of all, just tell us a little bit about what you do, and then I'm going to talk about if you thought you were going to do this when you were growing up. So what do you do now? And we'll just make it a two-part question. What do you do now in your life and your business? And did you see yourself with this career growing up?
So first of all, we are in this publishing industry where we help entrepreneurs and thought leaders turn their book ideas into best-selling book. That's what the company is, bestsellingbook.com. And we simply do that with our done-for-you solution or done-for-you book writing, publishing, and marketing services, so that even if people who don't have the time or skill set to write their book, they can simply come to us, we interview them, we understand their book ideas, and we write the book for them in their voice with their personality. We do the editing, we do the cover designing, publishing, marketing, all kind of stuff. And by the end of 6 months, their book is going to be #1 bestseller. And we also have different plans, like we make the book bestseller on Amazon, we make the book bestseller on Wall Street Journal, as well as USA Today. So it depends on the client's requirement. So this is what we do. I'm in this publishing industry for over 10 years now. And now the next step is basically, of course, as I mentioned, we offer Amazon, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today bestseller. The next step or next stop would be like we are working on building our marketing team so that we can also offer New York Times bestseller as a service for our clients. So we are working on that. It's really exciting for us, but it's also very difficult because it is actually it consists of so much of variables, right? We can't all of these different three categories like Amazon, Wall Street Journal, and USA Today. You can easily predict, like if you get certain number of sales, you can easily hit bestsellers on all these places. But with New York Times, there's so many different variables. So we are trying to work it out and trying to really understand it. And so I think it's going to take some time, maybe 1 year or 2 years. So we are working on that. Talking about the industry, the overall industry, it is really booming. Especially after COVID, there are so many people who had some time to actually sit down and think that, hey, like, of course, we had some really good journey. We should write a book. We should really share a story to the world. So we got a really good number of inquiries in the COVID time. And of course, it is keep on growing. Although the mediums are changing. Initially, of course, it was paperback, then it shifted to the Kindle, then now again it is shifting to audiobooks. But the overall industry is actually going in a very good and positive direction. So I'm really excited about what's going to happen after 5 years.
Yeah, I bet. So are you a writer? Were you always someone who wanted to be an entrepreneur, or tell me about how you grew up. Is it something you always dreamed about doing?
So I'm a terrible writer. I really just hate writing. I think the first employee whom I hired, I think he was a writer. He was a content writer because I really didn't had I really didn't have this skill set of to how to write content. So basically, I build this entire system or this entire service for myself, and now it is helping so many people. So I am my own customer, and I know that there's so many people out there just like me who are super busy, like who don't have the time to write the book, or maybe they don't have the skill set to write a professional looking book. Maybe they have expertise of writing blogs or emails, but writing blogs and emails is a completely different skill set than writing books. So you have written a book, so you must be knowing, you maybe aware about, so it's a completely different game altogether, right? So yeah, this is why I built this system. I built the entire service-based business just to help people like me who are struggling in completing their book. Talking about my background, I basically didn't initially. Of course, I was in engineering college, but like this was 12 to 15 years ago. I realized that this is not for me, so I chose another path. I started a company. It failed in 6 months, and then I had no money, no resources to pay my bills, and I still remember that I was living in a single room apartment, not able to pay my rents for the last 3 or 4 months, with a broken laptop and a 2G internet speed, searching online how to make money online, and then I stumbled upon self-publishing. And this was my first introduction of self-publishing. Then I had no excuse. Although I'm not a good writer, still I was able to write books. I was able to publish books. I was able to make some profit out of it. Then I started helping people that how you can do that, right? Initially, I was in coaching and consultation that, hey, how you can write the book yourself. But there were so many people who started reaching out to me that your stuff is good, but we really don't have the time or skill set. So I saw the opportunity. I assembled a team of writers, editors, designers, marketers, and I created this Done For You publishing company.
Wow. So when you were looking for ways to make money online or a new business idea because your other one failed, did you were already thinking that you would like to write a book and didn't know how to self-publish? Is that what you're saying?
That was actually the only option for me, because I knew that to write a book, and with this kind of writing, I can never, like traditional publishers are never going to be accepting my book. And along with that, traditional publishing is a very, very slow process. Like if you have the manuscript ready, it could take you 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 5 year to actually get a deal. And even if you get a deal, like the process is again very slow. You have to then they will be, of course, doing the editing and cover designing and the interior designing of the book, but the overall process is very slow. Along with that, you just simply lose control. You don't have the creative controls. They decide what would be the color of the book. They decide what would be the title of the book. I really didn't want that. So that's the reason, like, I went for self-publishing. It was quick. At the same time, I was having the complete ownership of the book. Right. So yeah, that's the reason I went for the self-publishing. That's ended up how I is a hybrid publishing that I did, but I knew that it wasn't going to be a quick process, and I knew, people saying getting a book contract and a proposal and all that, but like I was like you, I have the idea. I'm already writing the book. The hard part is writing the book, and that's what I thought. I have all that done. Why can't I just get it out there? It's like, you want to get it out there? Well, here's what, these are all the hoops you need to jump over. So then I met the company that actually ended up publishing my book, Ignite Press. And I had done, and it was nice talking to him, because I didn't realize how much I'd done, how far I'd come on my own. And he was like, wow, you really, like, you just need us to take you to the finish line. And there are some people that go to him they have a great idea and they do have a lot of knowledge in whatever they're writing about. But again, they're not good writers, or they're good writers, but they haven't even started. So they need all kinds of help. So that's how I discovered it. And I'm happy that
things like what you're doing and my publisher is doing, that businesses like that exist because so many people have such great ideas, and they're not going to be, the JK Rowling. They're not going to get this, 6-figure contract to sit in a cabin and write a book for a year. And that's it happens, and I'm all about possibility, and good for you if it happens. But if you're waiting for that to happen, your dream's never going to come to fruition. So why not try this other route? So I'm thankful that people like you are doing it and making it possible for people like me to get their work out there, because there's nothing more gratifying. I'm sure that you've heard this time and time again with your clients. There's very few things. I can't really even think of one thing more gratifying than writing my book and seeing it out there, and the cover of it. Someone from 99 Designs designed mine, and I did a contest. Someone told me to do this already. So when I went to my publisher and we were ready to start working together, he's like, all right, let's do a book design. I'm like, I have it already. He's like, you do? I said, yeah, I did a contest. He's like, well, that's what we were going to do. His name is Santo Roy. So I'll just give a shout out to him. But I had a contest and all these people came forward and designed it. And he designed this beautiful cover, and I just love it. And I gave him credit on my cover because he deserves credit. It's beautiful. So it's a fun story. I could talk about it all day long, but we're here to talk about you. So let's talk about, you had a business, and I'm just going to say kudos right off the bat, because a lot of people would start a business, fail, and then just not go back to not having, give up. And you didn't give up. You said, well, what else can I do to pay my rent and make money? So kudos to you for saying, like, what else can I do for myself? Because a lot of people wouldn't have done that. What made you, when you were doing that and you went from one to the next, what made you successful with this one that didn't happen the other way? Or what kept you going, saying, like, I'm going to keep doing this and I'm going to stay positive and I'm going to try something else? What was that for you? Was it your parents, or was it something you have inside that you've always been that way?
Actually, I had no other option.
Okay.
I just had to do it. So
Necessity.
basically, yeah, of course, it was a necessity for me. Along with that, I learned, like, of course, my first business failed, but in those 6 to 7 months, I learned a lot. So for example, the first business which I had, I wanted to create something very big, and I started taking very big steps since the beginning. So basically, so for example, in the first week itself, I hired, I guess, 6 to 7 employees. And in this stage, like, I had no clear or crystal clear idea of actually what the business would be.
Okay.
And I simply hired all of these people because I thought that to run a business, I really need employees.
Yeah.
Which is not true in every situation.
Right.
You can start a business just with yourself, and then of course along the line you can have other people joining the team. So this was the first mistake. Due to which I had to pay salaries to these people, and then all my money, actually, it just vanished within just 6 months, and I had to shut down the company. But in the second business, I started very, very small. I started with one book, then another book, then when I started making some money out of it, then when I started posting these books in Facebook groups and all the different places, so there were some entrepreneurs in my Facebook profile who started reaching out to me. Hey, like, how were you able to write book? Like, I was actually 19 at that time, 19 or 20, and they started reaching out to me. I started helping them. I help a few people for free, but then I also added a coaching fees. So and then I started helping them. Then I guess this was 9 years ago, I launched dozens of courses and ebooks on how to write and publish books.
Yeah.
And within 1 year, I think I launched several courses. I got tens of thousands of students from there. So these were for my courses. And then, of course, I also took some high ticket coaching clients. And then I saw this opportunity. Because of course, you were talking about taking out the burdens from these people, like, who really are expert but don't have the time. I saw this opportunity, I guess, several years ago, when I realized, actually, after doing my research, I found that most of the famous authors, especially nonfiction authors, books which I had read, they didn't write the book themselves. They were actually ghostwritten. So books including Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, then Losing My Virginity by Richard Branson, Seven Highly Effective Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. All of these books are actually ghostwritten.
Wow.
And when I found this, I thought these people, these top 1% people, they are super busy. They really don't have the time. And they know this thing that if they will try to write a book, they will end up writing something which people will not be liking.
Right.
So basically they hired those professionals who had written those books for several years, like who had written maybe dozens of books already, and they knew the process. They were having an expertise of just simply interviewing you, understanding your book ideas, vision, message, stories, and experience and expertise, and then writing the book for you in your voice with your personality.
Yeah.
Right. That's what we did. We simply hired those people, like those book writers, and then of course, eventually editors and proofreaders. Think about it. Like if you were to design your book cover, so you will not be able to imagine that you will be designing something like this.
No, you're right.
So just because these cover designers, they have designed hundreds of covers, if not thousands of covers. So they know how to have the contrast in the background. They know how to have the right kind of font. They know how to use the right kind of shadows, colors, and the pictures. So this actually comes with experience. So, and that's the reason, like, we have built a team of professionals who have several years of experience. And that's the reason when a client comes to us, we simply take care of them. They don't have to do, like, we take care of 90% of the heavy lifting for them. We write the book, we do the editing, we take care of each and every steps just to make sure that they're super happy. And we are actually doing everything, and we just need their feedback. Hey, okay, so I need this, I need that. That's it. We take care of everything.
It's nice.
So
it's nice having your hand held, not after having gone through the process. Just, what do I need? Tell me what I need to do. Like, we need this, this, and this. Okay, done. When do you need this by? Friday. Okay, great. And then the next thing, we need this and this. You have to make a decision over this. Okay, great, got it. It was nice. It was and that all of that took a little bit longer, almost longer than writing the book, because in between you have to do the designing and the editing, and there's other people working on it, but you have to wait, and obviously they have to do their work. So it's fascinating now that I know what goes into it. I love hearing about it. So tell me about, let's talk about your, now that you have some experience under your belt and you have your company, it's successful, and you're doing, work you love, and you're helping people, obviously, give their ideas, bring their ideas out into the world, which is, I think, a beautiful thing to be doing. What advice do you have for people that are searching for meaningful work like you were doing, and you were trying to figure out how you're going to survive and live your life out of necessity? What do you tell them when people ask you about, maybe it's not starting a book, publishing business like you did, but they're trying to figure out what they want to do in their life? What do you tell them? How do you talk to them?
So I usually advise people, in the beginning, don't look for meaning.
Don't look for meaning.
Yeah, in the beginning of your career, or in the beginning of, maybe if you're starting a business, don't look for meaning in that. Meaning actually comes once you are settled with the finances. So if you are making certain amount of money, then and only you should look for meaning. Otherwise, it would be a very chaos thing. You are looking for meaning, you are trying to do something, you are trying to help people, but at the same time, you have no money in the bank account. Your family is suffering just because of you looking for the meaning. It is fine. And basically, if of course, people sometimes ask me that what's the purpose of life? I think that there's no purpose of life, like, and there's no meaning, actually. You can give meaning to anything which you want, right? For example, if there's a terrorist, they have given a meaning to their work. Of course, it is a negative meaning,
right?
But they also have a meaning. They also have a purpose of life. They think that something is going to happen once they will do this kind of chaos in the world, they will go to heaven and this, but we don't know whether this is true or not.
Right.
So they have built this belief system, which you can also call a meaning, or which you can also call a purpose. So purpose can actually depend on situation to situation. So for example, maybe for me 3 years ago, my purpose was completely different. Now I'm in a certain situation where my purpose is completely different. When I'll be 10 years, after 10 years, I will be having a different purpose, I think. And maybe on the bed, on my deathbed, I'll be having a completely different purpose, or maybe I'll be having no purpose, right? So in the beginning, just don't think about, or don't look for meaning in each and everything. Just first of all, take care of the finances. Once you are settled down, like once you have enough money in your bank account, once you are having enough money coming every month, then you can think or look for meaning. Then you can think and look for how actually you can contribute to the society. And then you will find the meaning in that. And you can give the meaning just by doing these activities.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've never thought about it that way before, but I was talking to a company the other day who's all about safety and security for their employees, like feeling safe and secure and having well-being is a fundamental value for them. And it was because, well, I think it's a super important one, obviously, but you can't, like you were saying, you can't really find meaning and thrive in other ways unless you're safe and secure. And you can't be safe and secure unless you can pay your bills and you know where your money's coming from, and you can eat and obviously have shelter, what you need. But it's hard to look at those more philosophical questions when your basic needs aren't being met. It's that Maslow's hierarchy, and so obviously you have to have that first. And I think you're right. I think a lot of people will, and because we have kids that are, my one son's already graduated from college and working, but kids his age, young men that his age are just, they get out and they want to make a lot of money, and maybe they're not even thinking about purpose so much, but it's like they want money. So let me just backtrack for a second. They want the money and the security, which I think is important, but they're also thinking, that's all I want. So obviously you need to get settled with the finances to make sure that you can live your life, and then think more about the meaning and doing meaningful work and contributing in a different way. But if all you're thinking about is the money, it's really not necessarily security if it's money, because nothing is really guaranteed. So you have this great job. My son's an engineer. He's got this great job, and one day they might just decide that they don't want him to work there anymore, and now he's got to go get another one. So really, he's making good money and he's doing a good job, but it's not up to him unless he's running his own company, obviously. And even then it's not up to you. So they get lost in this, I'll just make money and then everything will be fine. But that's also not the answer. But I totally agree that you have to have that security in your finances in order first, before you can go out and say, what else can I do to kind of like take on the world? Yeah, actually, trying to do both at the same time would be really tough.
Actually, I always go for freedom in my life. Right. And so, for example, for me, freedom is really, really important. And freedom can actually come if you will really take care of three things. The first is, of course, the money part. The second, which is way more important than the money, it is your health. So, for example, if you have maybe all the money in the world, but you are just on the bed. You can't wake up, you can't stand. It has no meaning then. Right. Then third thing is the relationships. If you are just fighting with your spouse, and if your kids are not listening to you, if you don't have friends like whom you can trust, then again you'll feel lonely, even if you have so much money in the world. So you have to really take care of these three things: money, which is the finance, and then the relationship, and then the health. If you can take care of these three things, and then it would be very easy for you to really look for other areas. That is it all, or should I really pursue other things in my life? For me, of course, I'm clear that what do I want to do? But in the beginning, like, you'll just be giving yourself superficial answer that, hey, okay, this is going to be the meaning of my life. This is going to be the purpose of my life. And
Yeah.
it can keep on changing.
It can keep on changing. That's what I was going to say about your priorities. You have those three things: money, health, and relationships. And for a while, that's maybe all you need. You're not looking for meaning because you really just, you have to raise kids, you have to make a living, and you just get married, whatever it is. But then it shifts, just like your stages of life, where my husband and I are now in the stage of life where our kids are, our other son's in college. It's his second year in college. So we don't have to worry about all those things. We just have to worry about how we're going to live and what we're going to do, how we're going to do meaningful work and enjoy ourselves. Now, it's not and then obviously stay healthy, but we can concentrate on those things a lot easier than we could before when we were raising kids and having to deal with all their schedules and all of that. So it shifts as you get older, but you're right. If you're trying to find meaning as a 22-year-old college graduate and you're looking for like the big answers to life, I was thinking as you were talking, it's going to be so much different at 22 than at 32 and at 42 and at 52, because the meaning for you changes because your experiences change. You have wisdom every year when you learn more and you meet more people. You shift your views on things. And when you're I think I look at my boys and I think their view is in the beginning is so narrow because they're either playing sports, studying, watching sports, whatever it is, like that's their life for 4 or 8 years or whatever it is, in high school and college. And everyone around them is doing the same thing. So they're looking at the world through this little thing like, all right, well, my friend said this and my friend said that. My husband and I used to say to each other, why are you asking them? They don't know anything more than you do. Like, don't ask, you know what I mean? Don't ask people your own age those questions. Ask people our age or 10 years older or 5 years older. But it's funny because they're trying to figure out life and become autonomous, which all great. But they're seeking answers from people who don't have them, just like them. Like they have a different perspective, but they're still not going to have the answers for them. They have to live their life. They have to go out and live their life. So we just remind them of that sometimes when they'll come home and tell us a story that the friend said, and now they think about it this way. I'm like, oh my gosh, like, no offense to you, you're in college and you have all these smarts and all this stuff that you're learning that engineering I could never do. But there's all these other big questions that you're not getting those in university, right?
Of course, definitely. And I really like, of course, you have your book cover in your background. I really like I love your book title. So peace, possibility, and perspective. And of course, we can, when I see these three words. So for example, when you are in the early stage of your life, you just have to discover or explore the fullest possibility of your body, your mind, right? And you can only do that if you will do really good in your finance, if you are really healthy, if you are really having a good relationship. So all of these areas are fixed. So you have really explored and discovered the fullest possibilities of all of these areas of life. Once you do that, then somehow you'll become peaceful, right? Which is the second word or second keyword.
Yeah.
And once you'll be peaceful, then you will have a really right kind of perspective about life, which is going to help you maybe to find the fourth word, the purpose of your life.
Yeah.
So
that's why I titled it. It's like all along my search. I mean, I'm 52 right now, but all along the way it was how can I remain peaceful and content and happy as I'm working towards all these goals and figuring my life out and hitting roadblocks sometimes and seeing the possibilities, which is something I always did, which is why it's the first chapter in my book. Because I was always one of those kids and, in high school, younger, thinking, well, why not? Someone would say to me, no, you can't. Why can't I? Why is it not possible? Just because someone's never done that before? And then obviously the perspective comes, later in life, like looking back now that I'm 52 and on my journey, now I have some perspective. I can write about it and talk about what I learned and how I was learning it and all of that. So I love it. And that's why the podcast is called the Peace and Possibilities Podcast. So it's like, talk about how you remain peaceful and then talk about what was possible for your life and possible for other people. And everyone that I talk to is searching for something that they figured out on their own with the help of other people, but they did it. It's possible. And the people I'm talking to are living proof, which is why the podcast is named that. So is there anything, Vic, is there anything that you wish you had learned earlier in your life? I mean, I know you're kind of still newer to the whole wisdom concept with your, because you're a little bit younger than me. Is there anything you wish you'd learned earlier when you were in school as an engineer or just in general in your life or career?
I wish I would have learned coding
Coding.
Yeah. So I know that, of course, there are so many different possibility which has opened. Now, of course, you can build anything without any code, right? There's now new feature called no coding development or something,
There
where
is.
you can build applications and different type of programs without doing coding. But still, if I had this coding experience, I could have built some amazing things, amazing softwares, amazing.
Mm,
I always get so many ideas of building some really cool softwares using these, but of course that is only possible with codings,
yeah.
right? So amazing softwares to actually help people who are in the publishing industry, who are actually trying to write books or publish book or maybe do the marketing. But just because I don't have that background, although I can hire someone to do these things, just if I would have some level of experience and expertise in coding, it would be very easy for me to deal with these different people, like who were to build code or these different programs for me. So this was one other thing. And that's why, like, whenever I talk to new young people, like I ask them, like, hey, like, why don't you go for coding? Although it is very boring, but
Yes.
still it is really boring actually.
Yeah, I
But
could never do. I know. I agree with you. It's so valuable, but it would. When I think about a computer screen and putting those characters into it, I want to fall asleep, or I want to just turn away. It's so not. You know what I mean? I don't find any
yeah.
pleasure in it at all. I understand how cool it is, but having to do that, I would go insane. So I get, but like you said, it's a great skill to have, and think about what you can build with it. But yeah.
Actually, I have one question for you.
Yeah.
Usually people ask me this question on the podcast, but just because you are a number one bestseller, I want to ask you that what kind of possibilities opened for you when you became number one bestseller?
Well, I'm still discovering them. It's been, so February will be a year that my book's been out, but so being able to say, I didn't realize how much value it was going to bring to myself. So for my, and for my, well, for my business, but mostly really just for my confidence and for
Mhm.
my, let me think about this. So it opened me up. First, the biggest thing it's done for me in my life and in my career is helped me realize I can do pretty much anything, which I kind of believed before. But now that I did this, I mean, when you tell people you wrote a book and that it's actually out there in the world, and
Mhm.
it's just like, I didn't realize till my publisher wrote a book about how to publish a book too. And I didn't realize till I read his book, and you probably already know this, very few people, a lot of people say they want to write a book. Very few people actually do it. And if they do write it, they don't get it published. And if they do get it published, it doesn't become a bestseller. So first of all, there's that. But then there's also all he's like, did you realize that all these people, there are very few people that actually pick up a book and read it from cover to cover. I'm one of those people. I read every single word of every book I've ever read. Very few I've stopped, and it was only one of Tony Robbins' books because it was like 600 or 700 pages. I can't do it. Like, I got the information I needed. I'm like, I can't do it. It's too big. But most of the time, so I didn't realize only 10% of the people actually do that. Most people read the beginning and the end and a couple of things in between, and then they toss it aside. So my point is, I didn't realize what a big feat it would be and how impressed people would be by it. And also, I made a goal. No one told me to do this. I made a goal. I said, I'm going to have it done by this time. I did it. I broke it down into steps. I listened to other podcasts from people like you talking about how to do it on your own. So I did what other people recommended. I found what worked for me, and then I finished it and I did it. And people will say, how did you do that? I'm like, I put my mind to it, because anything you really is that's valuable to you, you'll figure out a way to do it. And so I just committed to doing it. It's not that difficult, because everyone's got the same amount of time. It's just, how are you choosing to spend it? I don't sit on social media and look through things. It's one of those things that I'll just be too frustrated when I'm done, either with whether it's fake or not, or people are complaining about things. I'm like, I want to make things better. I don't want to look at how things are bad or all of that. So I really just was focused, and it's something I really wanted to have happen. And I started doing it, and then I realized I'm actually a really good writer. I didn't think I was. I didn't know I was. I shouldn't say that. But I've also had this blog for over 2 years, where every week I write in my newsletter and blog when I talk to people from their podcast on my podcast. So I didn't realize how much I was doing it and how that I was good at it. And then finally, I'll say, like I had a client that I did a workshop for in December, and it's fun to be able to say, we have the speaker, she's going to come talk about these topics, and she also wrote a book. And then to have people say, you wrote a book, and then other people will come to you and say, how did you do it? And then I'll refer them to people like you and say, oh, well, I had help. I didn't do it all on my own. I don't know how to market a book or any of those other things, but I can write. So it's been for me a whole new, it's brought a lot of pleasure and a lot of it's been very rewarding to talk about it, to show people that I've done it, and then just to be out and about and saying, give people my book. Or I was at a bookstore, Barnes and Noble, for Christmas, and buying a book for my husband, who's probably read 2 or 3 books his entire life, because he's an audio guy. And he wanted this book. He's like, I really want to read this book. I'm going to do it. And I'm like, okay. So I went to the bookstore, but I just asked for the manager while I was there. And I said, my book is on your website, but I'd love to have my book in your store. Can we make that happen? And she's like, tell me what it is. And she looked it up in the computer while I was standing there. She's like, here it is. She's like, yes, how about I order 5 copies and we put them in the store, and if they sell, I'll get them in a couple other stores and we'll just see how it goes. Okay. But I never, obviously I couldn't have asked that question if I wasn't there, but I thought, what do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? Nothing. I've done something a lot of people will never do and say they're going to do for the rest of their lives, and it will never do. So it's just this, it's a confidence booster. It's a self-esteem. Like you feel very powerful because it's a big accomplishment, and it makes you feel like you can do almost anything. And now you have this, my husband always says, like, you have this thing that will live on forever. You have this, who knows where your book will end up, and someone will pick it up and he's like, it's crazy. I'm like, you're right. So I have to remember that more. And the other thing is you have to talk about it every day, because once you get someone like you to help you finish it, no one's going to know about it unless you talk about it and tell people about it. So that's a big lesson. It's taught me that I have to promote myself. And so I have to get better at that. I wasn't really good at that before, but I have to do that. I have to do it every day if I want people to know about the book. So it's taught me a lot. It's really taught me more personal things probably than professional.
Wow, kudos to you.
Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah.
Do you have any back-end business or coaching program or something which you want to promote using the book?
No. So I was talking to my one friend who's actually a coach. A couple of people have said this to me. Why don't you do that? Or why don't you write a course and that could be part of your book? That's not my sweet spot, Vic. I could do it, and then it sells, and behind the scenes I'm making money because it's already done, but I don't want to write a course. I wanted to write a book, and I will miss out on this interaction that you and I are having. So you get to take my course, and it's online, and you never even, maybe you hear from me because you see me on a video, but I never get to look at your face. I never get to see what you're taking away from it. I never get to see what you learned. I mean, maybe I have people direct messaging me and emailing me, but I need the live interaction. And if I spend 5 months writing a course and get it out there and I'm making money behind the scenes, it's great. I have no idea. It's like my book. I have no idea who's reading it. There's people, I write authors after I'm done reading their book, but I know that's not the norm. So there's people probably reading my book maybe today, but I'll never know about them. And that's not enough for me. I need to continue doing stuff like this, which is why I'm trying to do more leadership development programs and workshops, live training people, because I miss that. And I get that there's money out there to do it. And I know that it would add value, but it's not enough for me to, when you do a scale of how meaningful things are to you, it's like, I would do it. And every time I was doing it, I'd be like, and then it would never get done because I don't have the passion for it.
Yeah, of course. That makes sense.
And I like what we're doing, having a conversation, but the coaching, I can, as far as teaching people about the concepts in my book, the coaching for me also is tough because I can tell you what's helped me, and I can tell you what's going to help you. And then next time we talk, if you didn't do it, I'm going to be like, I don't know what to say now. Like, I can't keep encouraging, I can't keep encouraging you to do something that you can only do for yourself. It will frustrate me. You know what I mean? Because I won't see the results, and I'll know all you have to do is this. And I know there's people out there, I'll be okay. And then maybe they'll do it 2 months, maybe they'll do it in 2 years. That will drive me insane. I'll be like, just do it. Why can't you just do it? So I wouldn't be good at it, So
Got it.
anyways, let's do your final question for you. So
Sure.
actually, it's what is the greatest gift you offer the world today? But there's another one I want to, this one, or you can answer either that one or both of them if you want. The other question is either what's your greatest gift that you offer the world every day, and or what's the most meaningful thing from our conversation today, or that surprised you about our conversation, or what are you taking away from our conversation today? So you can answer one or both. It's up to you.
Can I answer both?
Sure.
Okay, so for me and for my team, what kind of gift which we are offering to the world is, of course, helping people write the book. And eventually, of course, initially we thought that we are only helping our clients. But down the line, we realized that our clients started receiving thank you emails from their readers, like how their life or how their business changed after reading their books. So basically, we are not only helping our clients, we are also helping the readers who are reading their books. So it's kind of a snowball effect.
Yeah.
So it's a really special feeling for us. It's a really special or kind of a gift which we are offering to the world.
Yeah.
So we are trying to change the world one book at a time.
Like that.
So answering the second question, I think when you shared with me that how, of course, I always talk about the business side of how writing a book and publishing a book can help you achieve these things, these number of money and the number of clients, the number of speaking gigs, and it can help you with the personal branding. But I think you are you told me that it helped you with your confidence. It helped you with your self-esteem. You knew that you wanted to do this for several years, and then finally you did it. And now you believe in yourself more. You know that you can do anything in the world now just because you have written the book. So this information is very special to me. Knowing that writing a book can also help you so much on your personal level, so much on your mental level and spiritual level, which can also help you. I know that like whenever you write books, like it gives you so much of clarity in the life, right? All the thoughts which are in your head for several years, now it is on paper. Now you have more clarity. Now you can see things better. So this information, of course, was very powerful for me. And yeah, maybe next time when someone is going to ask me that, hey, like how writing a book can help people, I'll also add this information.
Yeah, definitely. And I'm going to say too, as an author, so the clients you work with, one of the things it's kind of been fun was I'll sometimes at the end of the year, I was taking stuff from my book and posting it on my blog instead of recording new podcasts, just because I wanted to promote my book a little bit more. So every week, instead of writing about talked about on the podcast, I would take something from my book and put it in the blog. Like, I've already written all this. Why am I rewriting new things? And I read something I wrote. And I'm like, oh, that's a good point. I'm like, wait, I wrote that. So that happens to me, or I'll be re-listening. The other day I was on a walk and I was listening to a podcast that I did with Emily Williams, who also wrote a book. And she and I were talking about what we learned from our book. And I was telling her, and I was thinking, I'm listening to this conversation and I feel like I'm talking to two other people I don't know. And I keep forgetting one of them's me. And I was telling my husband that night when I came home, I'm like, so you forget about what you've accomplished and what you know and what you already, what's already solid for you and good and true. And it was a good reminder for me, like, wow, I have accomplished a lot. I do know a lot. I have a lot to offer. It was just like, it was a good reminder, because we're always, every week, I'm always recording something new, writing something new, thinking about something new, and then not celebrating what's already been done. I have over 100 podcasts now. And when I set out to do this, I said, I'll just do one a week and see what happens. And I just keep doing them and writing and all of that. And when you get on a little routine and a path, and that's working for you, it's good that you're consistent. I think consistency is a really important thing, but you forget about all the stuff that's out there. And it's like, oh, who knows who's going to hear a conversation from you, a year ago, two years ago, and it's going to spark a new idea for them or a new goal for them or whatever it is. And It's just fun to look back and read the words and hear my words and think, oh, okay. Yeah. Like what else am I going to create? But it's also, book is always going to be special. I am writing another book, but it's going to be on parenting and parenting unentitled children. It's actually, but how to raise unentitled children, but basically, but it's never going to be this special as this first book. Like you said, I look at that cover and I look at those words and I just get this, like, such a good feeling. Yeah. And just a funny quick story, that the guy who designed my book, he's been working in graphic design, or I don't know if it's called graphic design when you're doing that kind of thing. I think it is, but that was the first book cover I think he's done for that company. Mine. I think that's the first contest he won. So he was newer to it.
Wow.
Yeah. So he was really excited, and I was really thrilled for him, because when I saw it, I was like, this is, we went back and forth about fonts a little bit and stuff. And I was like, I just love it. And I'm like, you should be so proud. I'm like, people are, it wasn't my first choice. I was picking another one. And when I asked a bunch of people, that was the majority. And I'm so glad I stayed with it, because I look at it now and I just get such a good feeling when I see it. But yeah, and I love that there's people out there that have this gift that I don't have. I mean, actually, I'm kind of creative and I can design a few things, but like you said, there's so many variables that go into it. Even if I have an eye for something that I like, trying to create it would have taken me weeks and weeks and weeks. It's well worth the money to do it. And then have it turn out beautiful, instead of just like this thing that's never going to get done because it's going to take you forever to learn it. Yeah. So it was so nice talking to you. I'm so glad I got to know you. And I have a feeling we're going to be having another conversation at some point. I would love to talk to you again and hear about your journey and catch up with you in, like 6 months and see how your business is doing and new things you've learned and stuff. It was I loved talking to you. I'm so glad your team reached out to me. It was great.
Same here. It was great. I also learned so many things from you. Thank you so much for sharing your stories, and all the best for your next book about parenting.
Thank you. And all the best to you, and we'll be in touch, and I can't wait for people to hear this conversation.
Sure. Thanks, Julie.
All right. Take care. Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening. I hope you loved this episode. Don't forget to like us, subscribe, review, and share it. I hope you were truly inspired. And for a little more inspiration, don't forget to pick up my book, Peace, Possibilities, and Perspective: 8 Secrets to Serenity and Satisfaction in Your Life and Career. I can't wait to get you love in your life.